in the zone to be. From a yin to my yang to my yang to Z. Put a grin on my chin when you come to me. Cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind, and I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in the fire lit long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me old. I'll feed on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a warrior, this is my song.
I am a warrior and this is my song. I'm basking the glow of the rising war. Lay waste to the ground of an enemy shore.
I read you, Lima Charlie, loud and clear.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lima Charlie, episode 25. And I have with me Mr. Jeremy Phillips. Probably the first time I ever used the term Mr. Fellow Western.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I probably prepended your name with lots of terms, but I'm not sure Mr. was one of them. Yeah, so it's fellow Western New Yorker. So of course I got to sport the Bills hat because they're going to be kicking Ravens butt this weekend. And with that, Jeremy, welcome to the show, bud. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Glad I'm here.
I'm glad you are too, and excited to have you on. So let's talk about kind of who you are, and this is Lima Charlie, so it's people that have served and deployed at some point. So kind of give our listeners and viewers a little bit about who, when you joined, why you joined, what you did, kind of how did all that come to fruition?
I guess it all stems back from like my grandparents, because my grandfather on my dad's side jumped on Normandy on D-Day. My grandfather on my mom's side was a tanker in Korea. My aunt was in Desert Storm. My dad was in Desert Storm. It's just family business. Mom was in the Navy. Got a couple uncles in the Army, and I wanted to do it. I wanted my own footsteps kind of thing. And the big thing that led me to the Marine Corps, funny enough, I think I was 13 or 14. It was right after we moved up to New York from Texas, and I had to do a book report on a famous person. And I found this book called 93 Confirmed Kills and read it, and I did my book report, and that's what led me to the Marine Corps. And
Good old
so
Carlos.
Yep.
Good old, yeah, the premier sniper, and longest time.
Yep, held a world record for, I want to say, like close to like 60 years before that Canadian sniper in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I busted tail and all through high school and got to graduate a semester early. Graduated January 28th and shipped to boot camp February 8th in wonderful old Paris Island.
So was your dream to be a sniper in the Marine Corps? Did you want to follow Carlos's?
That was kind of what I wanted to do. That was one of the avenues I wanted to go for. And I wasn't part of the cool kid club, so I took the stay in doc twice and got failed on it twice, even though I made it to the end. Kind of the story of my life: bust tail and get kicked in the nuts.
Well, I can imagine that book and Carlos himself has probably, I imagine there's a lot of people that served in the Marine Corps, especially that probably had him inspiration also. I got to imagine it motivated a lot of people.
I would have to say so.
Yeah. So were you a big shooter? Were you
strange as it is, I never hunted. I never got into other than archery during Cub Scouts. I never got into firearms or anything else, and I never fired my first rifle till boot camp.
Really? And
Yep.
were you a good shot? Were you a good marksman?
I Now you're asking hard questions. What did I score?
Well, I mean,
I
sometimes,
scored expert, and I was a few points short of expert or of perfect.
well, sometimes you take a raw piece of clay, right? You can shape it however you want because you don't have bad habits and all that kind of stuff.
Yep,
So you listen to the DIs and you get the fundamentals down. And
yep, and they know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. So how long were you in the Marine Corps?
So I did 4 years and change. My plan was to reenlist, be a lifer, and kind of get out of the infantry and either go LAV, which is a light armored vehicle, reconnaissance vehicle, or Amtrak crewman, those fun little floating tuna fish cans. And just the stars never aligned, and um, they changed the tattoo policy in the Marine Corps, so I had to get out. Um, yeah, you couldn't have anything below the elbow or below the knee, and yeah, I way exceeded that, and so I
Yeah,
had to get out, and
yeah. You got a little ink, that's for sure.
just a little bit.
So that's what why you got out. It was the tattoo pot. I did not realize that it was a
Yep.
tattoo.
Yeah, I thought I would be safe with the grandfather clause, and there was no grandfather clause. At least that's what I was told when I got out.
So when you came in, that policy obviously wasn't in effect.
Right. If I remember right, that policy went into effect on January 1st of 2002,
No
and
kid.
I got out in the middle of February of 2002.
You would think by then they would know what was going to be on the horizon, and they would try to keep as many people as possible.
Right.
I mean, if you would have said like January 2001 or anything about like yeah okay they had no clue what was coming, but yeah. So about 4 years and something, all as an infantryman,
Yep.
as a grunt.
Yep. Yeah, it
Uh,
was well, I'll back up a little bit in the so when I went to SOI in Camp Lejeune, I tried out and took the recon and dock test, and because I could swim and I was a pretty good shot, and my SOI instructor told me I should try out for it, and I did, and I just wasn't one of the guys that got picked. There
okay.
was only a handful of us that finished it, and I had a good PFT score and a uh, good swim qual and good rifle qual, and just didn't get picked.
So and
So
were you
I
stationed?
got I finished up SOI at Camp Lejeune and got orders to Marine Corps Base Hawaii in Kaneohe Bay.
Okay. Now,
Um, that was it was cool when you get the orders and like, dude, I'm going to Hawaii, but it's kind of I guess it all depends on who you are, because I know a lot of guys that really loved it, and I was one of the guys that hated it. It was fun for a couple of months, and then it was just you're stuck on a rock.
yeah. Was it the isolation? Was it the
I
just
I I think it was a little bit of the isolation, a little bit of, because you know how leave works. You get leave, and at least back in the late '90s and early 2000s, it was over $2,000 to fly home round trip.
right?
And you're E2, E3, you can't afford $2,000.
Right. And if you take leave there, everything's expensive in a tourist haven like that. So it's not like you're
Yep,
short of getting a military guest house, and then you're not really have left the military. You still feel like you're
right. Like I could go to what was that place? Fort DeRussy over in Waikiki, and phenomenal hotel rooms, and you pay by rank. So yeah, I could have stayed there for dirt cheap, being E2, E3, but you know,
yeah.
I'm still on a rock.
Yeah. Did a lot of people don't realize? I'm assuming you went over and trained. And what is it? Paco, what's it? What's the big training area on the Big Island?
Pukaloa,
Upalo.
Pukaloa training area on the Big Island. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't
Hell,
realize snows in Hawaii.
oh yeah.
Snows up there.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I've told plenty of people, I froze my butt off and seen snow in Hawaii. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did.
Yep. Yep. That's for sure. So that's pretty much where you're stationed the rest of your time.
So we did a rotation pump deployment, whatever you want to call it, to Okinawa, Japan, and so it's a 7-month deployment, and we went from uh Okinawa to mainland Japan to Korea. Some guys got to go to Australia or Guam. Um, where else do we go? Honestly, it's been so long. I really don't remember everywhere I've been.
Are these like tours on? I mean, the Marines, right? You guys go on the boats with the Navy. Is this like where you're on a
Yeah,
float?
like when,
Oh,
yep. So like
yeah.
when we left Japan and went to Korea, we got on a boat, and yeah, it's like I could never do what my dad did. My dad was on a missile cruiser, and he was on a boat for. I remember him telling me the story of being at sea for 10 months without seeing any dry land, and we did it for 5 days. And no, I'm done. I'm ready
So,
to get off of this thing.
so there's no risk of you joining the Navy to be in a submarine or something like that.
No, I'm not built for that.
Yeah. The
I'll keep my feet on the ground.
So how were those when you think of young Marines, 18, 19, 20 years old, pocket full of money in a foreign exotic land? Was there a lot of opportunity to get in trouble?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to get in trouble, and like I remember my squad leader telling me my first deployment to Okinawa, you're going to be one of three things. You're either going to be a Bible thumper, an alcoholic, or a gym rat. And I kind of got in the middle and became an alcoholic and a gym rat for a while.
Yeah.
And but yeah, with like I remember we used to go over to Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, and it finally got to the point where the Marines were starting so many fights in Kadena that Marines weren't allowed on Kadena Air Base anymore.
Yeah, they have had a reputation of leaving a wake of destruction behind themselves.
Just a little bit.
Yes, yeah, and it's funny you mentioned those three things you could become. I heard something very similar when I went to Korea, but also I've heard from people who've been to prison, kind of the same thing. It's like you're gym rat, Bible thumper, like or you're just going to be in trouble doing bad stuff
Yep.
and keep getting thrown in lockup. Yeah, but yeah, so you got out 4 years, and then you were out for a while. And what made you come back in the military
I
again?
got so I got out, like I said, in February of 2002, and I got a job in a plastic factory, and it's the only thing that was hiring at the time, and it was just miserable, and I hated civilian life. That's not what I was built to do, and tried and tried and tried, and everybody had the same rules and regulations with all these weird tattoo policies, and then I found good old Staff Sergeant Harrison, sorry, and introduced me to this whole new world. And all right, sign me up. Let's rock and roll.
So ran into a National Guard recruiter, and Chuck was a good one at that. And he
Yes, he was.
and now we and of course his National Guard at the time, just is part time, so he still had to kind of work, but just it gave you that taste of military life that you had missed.
Yep. And so I kept the job at the crappy plastic factory, and I was given a lot of opportunities to do different in-state rotations of different things, and I took everything I could take and just do what I had to do. And um I don't even remember what was it. It wasn't even.
Did you do like power plants and
Yeah, did the bridges and tunnels and the power plants, and um
so for
oh
those watching that don't know, I mean, the New York National Guard. So, just full clarity, I guess I should have said this up front. So, Jeremy and I used to serve together. And in the New York National Guard after 9/11, like the entire Guard became active duty pretty much again. And still to this day, there are National Guard soldiers at Grand Central in New York City and things like that. But I mean, pretty much after 9/11, they took the National Guard and deployed them at every nuclear power plant, sensitive location, base, you name it, right? And all over the city.
yeah, oh yeah.
A lot of opportunity for young National Guard members to make some extra money and do something and contribute back and protect their state and all that kind of stuff. So, um, so you did a lot of those. I kind of remember when you came in. I don't remember exactly, obviously when, but it had to be. Was it 2002 when you came back in?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
in the fall
au-
or
yeah, August or September, something like that.
yeah. I remember this young Marine guy. Just I think did you come in Marine camis the first?
Yeah, because that's all I had.
I
I
met.
got. I think it was. I think it was senior that told me that when I showed up for formation that evening that I needed to have some type of utility uniform on, and I showed up in camis because that's all I had because I didn't get to go to Army boot camp, and
Right.
I pushed Chuck so hard, like I want to go, like you got to send me, and he's like, we can't. You're already active duty Marine Corps. We can't send you to Army basic training. You've already done it.
Right. Yeah. So you came in with like Globe and Anchor
Yep.
EDUs, and uh,
Yep.
I do somewhat remember that. And they're like, "Oh, great!" I was like, "Oh, we got."
And
Yeah.
I remember my first interaction with you yelling at me because I was wearing green jungle boots, and green jungle boots don't belong in the Army.
Oh, they must have been outlawed by then. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, those were good boots.
Yep, yep. Wow. So you came in, and so 2002. And then how's your time in the National Guard?
It was great
Don't say nothing
for
because I'm here. You tell me how it was.
no, there's only honestly pre-Iraq, I only really remember one or two bad things, and everything else was great. I got along with everybody. I learned a lot. I was afforded a lot of opportunities that I wasn't afforded in the Marine Corps that like I wanted to do and asked to do, and you and the skipper gave me the opportunity to do it, and it was a lot of fun.
And then 2004 came, or
Yep, and yep, 2003.
2003. You can go into how that interesting story happened around, but actually we went to Germany, right? You can with this when we went to
Yep.
Germany. That wasn't a great opportunity. I'm assuming that's one of the ones you're talking about. That was,
Yep, that was a phenomenal opportunity. The only thing, the bad part of that is we missed Oktoberfest by a couple of weeks.
yeah, they timed that perfectly, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
Uh, but so we went that, and then came back. Do you remember when you got when we got a lot of alert orders? Do you remember when the actual one
we
came?
we got wow. I'll bet you we got probably 8 to 10 alert orders, and nothing ever happened. And kind of reminded me of being on MSE in the Marine Corps. Like, okay, yep, okay, here we go, and nothing ever happened. And then all of a sudden, we got the legit order. You're going, and
It, that was probably what, December, November, December, around that time frame. Maybe October, November, somewhere in that,
no, it was.
wasn't it? Yeah, had to be.
I want to say it was end of September, beginning of October,
Yeah,
because I met my wife October 14th. I think it was October 10th or October 14th
I
when
thought
we
it was
got the
October.
no, yeah, it was October because we got um the Ralph Wilson Stadium gave us the tickets to the free football game, and they
Yep,
played the Houston Texans.
and that's where you met your future wife
Yep,
and serve your children. Yes,
yep,
on free tickets because you were deploying.
yep.
Uh, and
And 46 days later, it's wild to say it, but yep, 46 days later, we were married. 2 days after that, we left, and here it is, almost 23 years later. 20,
yeah,
yeah, 23 years later.
yeah. The interesting is if you remember or not, when we were in Germany, you remember the battalion commander at the time and the ops sergeant came over to Germany, and they
Yep,
came. We were like, "Oh, what kind of boondoggle is this? They're just trying to get a free trip to Germany from New York." But they came over to get everyone together to say, "You're deploying." That was like number 7 time, I think. That
I
was
think that was like the seventh or eighth time.
and they were like, "You're deploying." We're like, "Okay, this is okay." They're shit. Like they flew to Germany to tell us this. Like, okay, and now if you remember that, we came back. We got off the buses after being in Germany for 3 weeks, and like families and signs, and everyone's hugging. And we're like, "Yeah, everyone's loading back up tomorrow. We're going to Syracuse. They're mobilizing for Iraq." And I was not a popular person during that time, but then that one turned out not to be real. So that was like
Yep,
that was, and that's when everyone finally went, "Yeah, sure, we'll believe it when it
yep.
happens." So came October, met your wife, kept getting ready, pushed out. And did you ever think, when you were in the Marine Corps, could you have ever imagine that I'm going to go to war one day? It's going to be in the New York Army National Guard of all places.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Uh, Especially after 9/11 had happened, probably would have
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, because we got because I was in Hawaii on MSC on September 11th, and we got uh, we got these tiny little pagers, and I don't remember what all the numbers meant, but um, like 111, you had to call the duty NCO, or 222, you had to report back to the base. We could never be more than 30 minutes from the base, and September 11th happened, and it was I think it was like 3:30 or 4:30 in the morning, and the duty NCOs beating on the door. We're going to war. We're going to war. Like, no, we're not. It's another pager, and I rolled over and went back to sleep. And a few minutes later, the duty comes back through, beating on the door, and everybody in the rec room. So we all piled in the rec room, and there it was, the second plane hitting the second tower. I'm like, okay, I guess maybe we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward a couple of years later, and here we're doing the same thing all over again. Go to here, go to there, go to here, go to there, and then it finally happened.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you went to Iraq, um, and I think by the time you went through pre-mob and all that kind of stuff, right? You went over about February, March of.
Um,
Is that about right? Yeah. I want to say
I
around.
I I think it was about the middle of February, somewhere
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. By the time you went to Fort Hood, trained up. How was that? How was the training at Fort Hood? Mobilizing and preparing to go. Was it what you
Um,
hear? Were you impressed, or were you like let down?
the I don't really know. I mean, it was probably some guy with shiny stuff on his collar, but the training in Fort Hood, minus some of the Bradley stuff that we got to do, was a joke. It was like the none of this is real. None of this is going to work. And then we left Hood and went to Fort Polk, and that's when it got serious. And the training was legit training. It was good training. We were in the Mount facility. Um, we did some Humvee stuff. It was that the Fort Polk was good training. Texas, not so much.
Okay. Yeah. And then that was kind of like your last thing. That was kind of like your test, right? Before you went was Fort
Yeah.
Polk
Yep.
validate. So you get in the country. I guess just talk about that. What stands out? You had kind of a unique tour. The unit got all, without getting technical detail with everybody, but I mean the unit that went over, a couple platoons of infantrymen got split apart in different directions and did different things. But how was that? How was that deployment for you? What really stands out? What are some of the things that stand out for you on that at 1 year deployment?
Um, so I guess we'll start at the beginning. Um, we'll start back at Fort Hood. So a few days after we get to Fort Hood, back to the whole Carlos Hathcock story. The sniper platoon section leader, not really sure what he was called, went from platoon to platoon through the two companies that were there and asked for volunteers. And I volunteered and was told, no, we can't give up a body. You got to stay here. And I said, okay. And I left it at that. And I still have a really bad taste in my mouth for that whole story. But so Fort Polk, no problems. Kuwait, no problems. And I was in our platoon commander's truck as his machine gunner, and we got to Camp Taji, and we started doing right seat rides from Camp Taji to this little IP station, and it was funny because they had a tank turret on the roof of the building because I guess it scared people. I don't know.
And just
And
for being, I may jump in as to
oh,
comment.
you're good.
Iraqi police, just so people know. We have a lot of civilians that watch this, so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Iraqi police station. Keep going.
Um, and I was told when we get back to Taji, I need to go see the CO. And here I'm thinking, uh-oh, what did I mess up?
Not that
And
you've been told you got to go see the CO. I'm sure.
no, not at all. Um, could never find him. And we ended up getting packing up and convoying over to the fob. And platoon sergeant comes back in and says, "Hey, the CO's in his office. You need to go see him." And so I go see him, and he had no idea why I was there. Absolutely no clue. And I said, "Sir, the only thing that I can think of is platoon sergeant doesn't want me here. I asked to be transferred to the sniper platoon because they were looking for volunteers, and I guess he doesn't want me here." And he's like, "All right, well, you're going to be my RO, which radio operator." So I was a radio operator for the company CO for a little while, for I don't know, maybe a week. And he put me in fourth platoon and made me the designated marksman and sent me next door to the Iraqi police station that was right adjacent to where we were at. Our fob was at forward operating base for all the civvies watching. Um, and I just kind of flourished from there. I missed the guys in my platoon, missed all of them. I still talked to them. Still hung out at the chow hall, whatever, when we could. But I ran missions with fourth platoon, and um, I was uh, I was in the platoon sergeant's truck there in fourth platoon, and ran the 50 cal there, and when we did foot patrols, I was the DM for him, and it was just a great opportunity.
So when you were designated marksman, did you carry a different weapon system?
So I was definitely a hoarder of weapon systems. So I carried my issued Beretta 9mm. I carried an M4 with a 203, and I carried the M14
Yeah,
all at the same time.
you were packing some weight there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Plus as much ammo as you could carry, I'm sure.
Yeah, what was it? So I carried um, one magazine in the pistol, four magazines in reserve, one magazine of my M4, eight in reserve, four HEDP 40 mic, two parachute flares, and one smoke grenade. And then I carried six magazines for the M14
Yeah, that good thing you're in
at
great shape.
155 pounds.
Yeah, and 100 degrees heat, if that,
Yep.
if not more. So, how'd you get tagged to be designated marksman? Was it because you had told the commander you had volunteered and he said, "Well, okay, sure."
Yep. And that's pretty much how it rolled through. Is you volunteered, you want to do it. We're going to send you over here at the IP station and see how you shoot, and we'll go from there. And I don't know, I guess I impressed them or made them happy or what, but
did you have to kind of qualify? Did you have to show your shooting skills before they?
yeah, we had to get because they're old Vietnam era M14s, and had to get them zeroed and had to qualify out to 400, and he was pretty impressed. So
Okay. So you're with the fourth platoon. So you're not, like I say, not only did the platoon you went with out of New York get split off and go into other states, there was, an Arkansas battalion, there was a Oregon brigade, and then you got split off to a different platoon. How was? I mean, you met all different guys, got to meet other people, and you were with the Oregon guys, right? You were with the Oregon.
Yeah,
yep. How was how was that tour? Was it were you, let me back up. When it first happened, were you, because you got to be in the position you wanted, kind of the sniper designated marksman, but you weren't with the guys you deployed with? Was it
right? And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because I've been friends with these guys for the last couple of years. As cliche as it is, we've been to hell and back with the training that we've done, and now here I am with my ass in the breeze, don't know nobody.
But doing the job you wanted to do.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bittersweet, I'm assuming, because.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it.
Yeah. So when you look back and you spent the rest of the whole tour with them in that.
Yep. I did the entire tour with 4th Platoon until maybe 2 weeks before we started packing up to head to Kuwait, and then we got extended for, I think we were extended for a little over 60 days.
Right. And then when but you still saw a lot of the guys from the, our unit back in New York. You still ran into them, say, in the chow
Yep.
hall.
Yeah, I mean, we were all next door neighbors.
Right.
I used not going to say his name, but I used the old platoon barber from 2nd Platoon, and he was still my barber. And I still hung out with a lot of those guys when I could, when the opportunity arose.
I mean, that's better than just being on a totally different fob or something like that. Not seeing
Yeah.
last 2 weeks and then show up like, where have you been? What's been up? That kind of stuff. So, so how was it thinking back on that tour? What's kind of things? What have you never forgotten about? What stories have
Um,
really stand
the
out?
the two big ones would probably be June 4th and November 20th. Um, and I know I can't change it, but November 20th always hits me hard because I was home on mid-tour leave, and what if I lived with what if I was there for years
Yeah.
and years and years, and I'm a little older and definitely not wiser, but come to grips with reality that even if I was there, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, I can relate to that. That was something I carried me for a while too. Wondering if the leadership over there did all they could do to protect and enable people, and what have, could I have done anything different? So I'm with you. What was unique about the June date?
So the June date is wow. Okay, give me a second.
If you don't want to go into it, we don't have to.
No, we're good. We're good. So June 4th was a typical everyday because we did weekly rotations, and so it was just your normal everyday split the platoon in half, and you guys are going to go watch this mosque, and you guys are going to go watch this mosque, take the interpreters, and go see what the imams have to say. And a on Route Pluto, as far back as I can remember, it was always a black route. And for whatever reason, we heard a loud explosion, and we were only, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 blocks from Route Pluto, and you could see the smoke in the air. And uh, LT said, "Let's go investigate." So I was with the platoon sergeant, and he took the 3 trucks one direction, and LT took the 3 trucks the other direction, and we met in the middle, and it was one hell of an ambush. They had, again, some strange reason, there were only 2 MP Humvees on this route, and one had a 50 cal and one had a 240, and the 240 wasn't even loaded. That was a wow. I can't even emphasize enough how ridiculous MPs were back then. Um, and we rolled up, and the guys in LT's truck saw the wounded MPs in the street, and they piled out of the truck, and they detonated a briefcase bomb, basically a claymore mine the size of a briefcase, and killed 2 of them instantly. And LT, as the smoke cleared, I saw LT stumbling, get up, collapse, and everything I was worth. I wanted to run towards him, but I knew it was a bad idea, and we ended up getting him medevaced out, and he died later that day. Yeah, June 4th was a rough day. Um, and but when they tell you those near death experiences, time slows down, and they weren't joking, because I got stuck driving that day, and I hated driving, and I just watched this ball bearing fly right at my face, and it hit the window, hit the windshield, and puckered the windshield, and hit the hood, and rolled down the hood, and it was right at eyeball level with me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess today ain't the day. Time to go to work.
Yes. So you were driving the LT day
No, I was driving a platoon sergeant that day.
that day. Wow. Yeah. So obviously something that, like you said, will be with you forever and never forget. And but you stayed on task, and that's why we do that training we do, right? So everyone continues their mission. But so we want to go in the November. That's something that's near and dear both of our hearts for sure. But um, you had probably had many other experiences. Any other close to near death that, or was that pretty much the one that was,
Um, the one,
or that you cared about? Because after a while you get numb to them. You're like, oh wow, there's a crash.
yeah, like
Okay.
the one that I always find comical, and I've told the story a million times just because it's so funny, is we got tasked with escorting EOD to a power station in the middle of nowhere, and it took us. It was like a good 5 hour drive. It sucked, and we get out there, and it's all civilian contractors, and like, hey, Phillips, you're gonna go provide bodyguard backup for the EOD guys. We're walking around and we finally find this rocket. It's like 6 feet out of the ground. And he walks up and starts shaking it. Like, man, I don't give a shit what rank you are. You kill me, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to come back and I'm going to kill you. And he looked at me and he's like, it's not our problem anymore. If it blows up, it's not our problem anymore. I'm like, dude, I really don't like you. But it was too late to drive. It was dark and it was too late to drive back that night. The LT didn't want to drive back, so I got a really good homemade spaghetti and meatball dinner.
By civilians or EOD?
Yep, the civilians made it. It was a really good dinner that night, and it
So
wasn't even on a cardboard plate. It was on a real plate.
wow. So it was it a rocket that was shot that was just a dud?
Yeah, it was just a dud or whatever. The warhead had like disintegrated when it impacted, and but yeah, I was not a happy camper being 5 feet away from this thing, and he's shaking it.
No, no, not at all. The what did so I'm assuming they blew it in place or did something that
No, he made a triangle frame on top of it, pulled it out of the ground, and loaded it up in the Humvee, and there it sat. Didn't even blow it in place.
wow, I guess they were really confident what it could or could not do.
I
Uh,
guess so, but hey, those guys know what they're doing.
so next day you just after full belly of spaghetti dinner just rolled back.
Yeah, and just roll back.
And then later on in life you look back and go, oh man, like it's it could have turned out so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Truly,
It could have 15, 20 different ways I could have turned out.
yeah. Guardian Angel was working overtime.
Yes, yes, he was.
Well, I imagine with you that angel probably got a lot of overtime pay
Oh yeah, he did.
and may still. But
I think so. The way that I drive, I think so.
so yeah, that's an interesting one. Anything else? Any involvement with the locals? Yeah,
Um,
any that you know befriend any or get to know any or anything like that?
just our interpreter, really. I mean, it was like every once in a while we had to pull guard duty over at the IP station, and one day there's 80 of them, and the next day there's three of them. So you don't really get to know anybody. I mean, the only local national that really sticks out to me is the gas huffer um at the hotels when we had to go do guard duty at the hotels, and he always sat right by the back gate on his crutch, huffing gas, and he was there day in and day out.
Just huffing gas and getting high
Yep,
in
yep,
hotels.
yep.
Was he an amputee? Was he missing a limb?
Yeah, he was. What was? Yeah, he was missing his right leg from the
Okay,
knee down, and he just sitting there huffing gas.
man.
It was definitely a strange. Just that even in the places that I've been to and the things that I've seen, it was still strange.
And that was at the back gate of the hotel area.
Yep, where the what was that? The Baghdad National, Baghdad Sheridan. Oh, I don't remember the third one. But yeah, that little hotel complex right at the overlooked the traffic circle where Saddam's
Yeah.
statue fell.
How long was that assignment?
What did we do there? I think we did 7 days or 10 days every other month, something like that.
Did you get to stay in the hotel, or did you have to sleep out?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
you did.
Yep. Great showers, flushing toilets, real food.
It wasn't really a pass, but it was kind of a little bit of R&R in the fact
Yeah, a
that
little bit.
you lived well. You still had to guard it. Uh, yeah. So, did you ever do any work with any of the Iraqi police, the training stuff, or the Iraqi National Guard? Did you ever?
Never did we worked with them, but never did like any of the training or stuff. That the MPs that live next door did most of their training. But yeah, we did do some door knocking and door kicking where we worked with the IPs and the what were the ING, the Iraqi National Guard.
Yeah. How was that experience? I heard mixed reviews.
Um, I never had them behind me.
Yeah, you weren't going to let them. You weren't going to be the number one man in the stack.
No, no,
Yeah.
never. Like if I could help it, I stayed in the truck on the 50 cal. Like there was no way I was letting any of those guys behind me.
Yeah. Did you ever get to employ the M14?
Once.
Okay. All right. So you got to at least say you got a little time behind the behind.
Yeah, little bit of trigger time.
That's good. That's good. So anything else that stands out? Any other moment? Anything you
Um,
experienced?
Probably a story I shouldn't tell, but I think the statute of limitations are over. Is the going across the parking lot and scamming beer from the Australians when we were at the hotels.
Oh yeah, that's way you're way good now. Uh, the Australians got to bring beer, and they weren't so uptight that they didn't bring beer in.
Nope, they had like a little dance club on the penthouse, and we'd go up there and scam beer from them and go back down and back across the parking lot. As long as you weren't stupid, I
Yeah,
don't think that the chain of command really cared.
right, right. They now was this on base or was this at the hotels?
This was at the hotels.
Oh, okay. So they had like a permanent floor at the hotels.
Yeah, I mean, we heard rumors, but you know how rumors are with the, you know, there's press over there, there's CIA over there, there's
Right.
guys in black pajamas and black SUVs. We never really saw any of them, but
I heard
it's
a civilian count like the Blackwater types that were there.
yeah, we heard the same thing. Don't
Yeah,
know if it was ever true.
always hanging poolside. What I hear.
Yeah, and
The
we were never allowed in the pool.
oh,
Had three swimming pools there, and we were never allowed to utilize any of them.
kind of like a Marine not allowed on an airbase.
Yeah, right.
It. Yeah, you guys didn't bring swim trunks, and they probably knew the Army guys would just jump in butt naked. I'm sure,
Probably. That's most likely the reason why.
and not care. Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, that was probably not because there was no other R&R, right? There was no pass or leave.
We got
Get some like down a Cutter or Bahrain or anything.
so I think it was 3 days, 3 or 4 day pass to go to the green zone. And some guys, I don't know if they were higher ups or what, but some guys did get to go to Qatar. Some guys got to go to Kuwait, but like I went to the green zone for a couple days and got to swim in Saddam's pool and jump off the high dive and had some decent grub. And but yeah, it was definitely weird with incoming mortars and incoming rockets, and you're standing there in a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
They take your rifles, they take your body armor.
Oh, so you don't have any of that with you when you?
No,
Yeah,
literally shorts, a t-shirt, and sandals.
and yet incoming, and
Yep.
we got to find a bunker somewhere, or
Oh, we
what?
didn't even have those there.
Oh,
They're like, oh, I'll just go get in the pool. It'll be okay.
yeah.
I
And
hope.
that should slow shrapnel down. But no, I know when guys, I was in Afghanistan, some people got to go to like Qatar, Bahrain, or something like that. Even when I was in Desert Storm, there was some of that, and yeah, they would check their weapons and take everything like they were civilians with short haircuts. Just was pretty much it. But I didn't realize that Green Zone was considered an R&R point.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder how the people that were permanently stationed there got over with still getting combat pay and danger pay.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
they lived in a if they lived in a R&R position full time. But then again, people did that in Kuwait, right? So, um, yeah. So, how did that? In looking back, do you feel like the year flew by, or um, was it just a lot of slow boredom of just trying to occupy yourself with just
You
sport?
know, it's that's a great question because there was some time where it flew. You wake up on Monday and you go to bed on Friday, and there's no Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then there's days where Monday feels like it's 6 months long.
Right. Was that because you guys were on rotations doing certain types of like
Yeah, like we did, a lot of the weird mission tempo that we had. Sometimes it was just back to back to back, and you lose track of days. You don't sleep for a couple days, and then you're off for a day or two, and you sleep the day or two, and
yeah,
um. But yeah, it was a little bit of both.
yeah, yeah. The do you stay in pretty good contact with the guys from the platoon that are from Oregon?
Most of them.
Okay.
Um, I'd say probably at least a dozen of them.
Have you ever been out there to see him?
No, that's the hard part. I've been invited out there a few times, and one of my platoon mates lives on top of a mountain that he's got a elk migration route that runs right through his front yard, and he shoots giant elk every year. And if I ever ended up out there, I'd probably never come back.
Yeah, you'd probably tell your wife to sell everything and come on out here.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's good. I mean, I know they do reunions out there. They've done some of our fellow former soldiers, teammates, some that aren't here anymore have went out there and that kind of stuff. But
Yep.
I wasn't sure if you ever had the chance. But
I'd like to go, but it's kind of one of those things that I know if I go, I probably like Texas. I grew up in Texas, and I ended up down there for a little while. And if I ever got the opportunity to go back, I probably wouldn't come back to New York.
well, the free state of Texas, I can't, the Republic
Right.
from this state. But yeah, so a lot of guys when they came back, they felt I call it chasing the ghost, right? They want to turn right around and go right back. They feel like when you're over there, all you want to do is get home to family and stuff. But then when you get home, you realize the how do I put it the different I'd say sometimes slower life, but simpler life it is in combat. Did you find yourself wanting to go back as soon as you came back here, or not long
And
after?
and that's a very valid statement because I mean, what we were home for what a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you guys were going on the 2 week annual training to I think it was Pennsylvania, and I'm like, I'm going, sign me up, let's go.
I remember you came because I remember I was like, "Wow, you guys were not back long," and it was like you're like,
No,
obviously you didn't have to do it. I mean, you had like 90 days for you even had to show back up to drill, and you came right along.
yeah, I was got to go back to work.
Yeah. The
Um,
but did you
you
have any
know, and,
or inclination want to go back over there?
um, well, we got that. What was it? Shortly after that, we got the warning order for Afghanistan, and I was ready to go. And that's when I got diagnosed with the TBI and had to get medically retired. So that was a kick in the chops.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I've been asked this question numerous times: would you rather go back to Iraq or would you rather go to Afghanistan? And I mean, you were in Afghanistan, and honestly, I'd rather go back to Iraq because we had air support. It was definitely a 360-degree battlefield like Afghanistan is, but we definitely had things in Iraq that you guys didn't have in Afghanistan. And honestly, if I had the opportunity to go back to Iraq, I probably would have back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it one of our fellow soldiers did both. Well, a lot of them did both, but I talked to one of them when they came back from Afghanistan. I think I told this story on here not too long ago, And I asked him at the Buffalo airport. I was picking him up and getting him on buses, and I asked him. I said, "So you've done both?" I'm like, "Which one would which one was worse? Which one's better?" And he said, "I'll go back to Iraq all day." He goes, "The IEDs and the EFPs in Iraq are nothing to those triple stacks in Afghanistan." And he said they were ripping apart the biggest MRAPs we got. And he goes, "I'll take what Iraq threw at us all day long before I want to deal with that again." And that was pretty enlightening. I mean, I had a different tour than most, and obviously you guys did, going over as an ETT in Afghanistan and everything. But it's like everything. It's a new normal. It's like that's what we had, so you just dealt with it. You did that's. But him comparing the two, almost two tours pretty close together, felt that Iraq was a safer place.
Yeah.
And so,
And I mean, honestly, from some of the stories that I've heard come out of Afghanistan, I'd rather go back to Iraq in a thin skin Humvee.
yeah, it was definitely a little bit different, and like I say, very austere, and not as much infrastructure for sure. But yeah, yeah, I know. Like I say, guys I was with it, they some went back a couple times, and I know a lot of guys that wanted to, and we would talk about it, and I'd be like, "You're chasing the ghost. You're not going to get what you had the last time, because it's about the people to your left.
Yeah,
It's not about the enemy. It's not about that. What made the experience where you want to go back is the guys that were to your left and right, and they're
absolutely.
not going to be there on the next tour. Even if you go with the same unit, people rotate in and out. It's just going to be
Right.
different.
Yeah, I got a real good friend from the Marine Corps that he did 9 tours in Iraq and he did 6 tours in Afghanistan.
Wow. And all was he just the units he was in because they were rotating, or was he volunteering all the time?
I'm pretty sure he a couple of them were because of the unit he was in, but most of them were I'm ready to go, let's go. Because
Yeah.
in the Marine Corps you do a 6 month deployment,
Right.
and
Right.
he was just one right after the other, and and then his guardian angel took a break that day, and
Yeah.
um but he's still doing good. He's coaching baseball and um living a dream.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It's it's a simpler life. When you don't have to deal with
Absolutely.
you don't have to deal with dogs puking on the carpet and oil changes and bill collector and all that stuff, and you just get up every day and go, all right, what mission am I going on, or am I just going to sit here and play the Xbox?
Yep.
I wonder what's at the chow hall. Oh, today's steak night. All right, cool. Leg night. So, well, awesome, Jeremy. Anything else before we wrap up? That just
Yeah.
story. Anything that you just want to just give our listeners and viewers just a glimpse of kind of what your tour was like that just stands out? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Honestly, not that I mean, it was just the same. At least for me, it was just the same thing every day. Get up and go to work and go home, take a shower, and go to bed. Nothing. We did stuff just like everybody else. You still have U.S. Army on your chest. Doesn't matter what's before it, whether it's active duty, National Guard, Reserve. Everybody did the same job, and you just get up and go to work.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, awesome, man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for coming on and sharing some of that, and you know, for your service, and not only with that, but also your service still, because you're staying in contact with a lot of guys, and that's important too, right? For all of us to,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because
and
it's just speaking from my experiences, it's a lot of those guys that I still talk to. We tend to talk each other off the ledge sometimes.
yeah, we prop each other up for sure, and that makes a difference that others just can't relate to. So, hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on, Jeremy. It's good talking to you, brother.
Yes, sir.
And we hope you have a good night.
Yep, you too.